Fairweather friend. Options: honest only when easy and convenient, truthful only when easy and convenient, supports only when easy and convenient, temporary only when easy and convenient. So the only difference in the options are the adjectives: honest, truthful, supports, temporary. So who's a Fairweather friend? Basically a friend who cannot be trusted in times of difficulty. That's what a Fairweather friend is. So for example, if I say the moment I met with an accident is when I got to know who my Fairweather friends were. Yeah? 3. So a Fairweather friend is basically a person whose friendship cannot be relied upon, especially in difficult times, right? So for a question like this, again, you either know it or you don't know it.
Let's look at one more. If the speaker continues with his boring speech, the audience will probably vote with their feet. That's the expression that is highlighted, vote with their feet. Options are: choose him as a leader, stop him from speaking, kick him out, show their disapproval. So in the context here, the audience vote with their feet. Vote with their feet. Basically, when you say vote with their feet, you're doing some action with your feet, literally. So one thing that you can do is, if somebody's speech is boring, you can leave. You can walk away, right? So vote with their feet meaning you're making a statement, right? Voting also, like this you can apply with a literal meaning. You're voting, which means you're putting your voice out there, you're making a statement, you're saying this is the person that I think should rule this place. So just like that, vote with their feet meaning you have the power or the option to leave because you're not enjoying the speech. So to express one's dissatisfaction with something by either leaving or walking away, right? That's the meaning of vote with their feet. So in the context, it is option D.
Idioms and phrases. Idioms and phrases. We all know that, each word in the idiomatic phrase can have a different meaning individually, right? But when they are put in a phrase, when they come together, they give us a completely different meaning. So we understand what idioms are. To bury the hatchet. Options are: to make peace, to dig the ground, to negotiate, to make war. So what's a hatchet? Anybody knows what a hatchet is? Any idea? Have you heard of this word hatchet? Do you have any idea what a hatchet is? It's basically like a axe. Okay, a hatchet is a axe. You can use it to cut wood, whatever, right? It's just a tool. So we're talking about to bury the hatchet. So to bury the axe, to bury, it's not making sense, right? But this particular phrase, what it tries to say is, if you have some sort of an animosity between anybody, okay, you are hostile towards someone, you look at someone as your enemy, okay, but you are willing to overlook whatever happened, whatever disagreement, whatever argument you had, whatever conflict you guys had, you are willing to overlook it, and you are willing to forgive and move on in life, right? So when you're saying, I want to bury the hatchet with you, what you're basically saying is, boss, I don't want to remember what fights we had, what arguments we had, whatever the disconnect we have, let's forget it, let's bury it, let's move on, right? So to bury the hatchet means to make peace, okay? So idiomatic phrases, the only problem I see is, if you look at individual words in the phrase, it's not going to make sense. You'll have to be familiar with it coming together as a holistic phrase, then it's going to make sense. That's always the case with idiom, right? If I say, let the cat out of the bag, right? This is another idiom. So I know what a cat is, I know what a bag is. But in the expression, what does it mean? He let the cat out of the bag, meaning some sort of secret he shared, he exposed it. He exposed something which he was not supposed to, right? So we always need to be familiar with phrases, and mostly idiomatic phrases, they will have some sort of an origin. It would have come in this particular period, it happened in this particular, especially idioms and phrases related to games, right? There'll always be an origin to it. Let's look at the next one, selling like hotcakes. Sometimes for idiomatic phrases, you can apply this concept. You identify a keyword, right? A keyword, and this will be sell. And if you look at the options, to have a good reason, to become as planned, to have a very slow sale, to have a very good sale. So obviously, in the 4 options, I have 2 options which is talking about sale, which is my keyword, right? So I can quickly eliminate option A and B. Out of C and D, I need to decide. Selling like hot cakes. Imagine if something is hot, it's more tastier. It's people want, especially when you go somewhere, you buy something, you want to eat then and there, right? Hot, if you eat, you feel nice. So if I say selling like hotcakes means obviously something is going very, very fast. So to have a very good sale, right? So this is another way you can apply. Idioms and phrases, either you know it or you don't know it, but sometimes you can identify keywords, try and eliminate wrong answer options which are not related to the keyword. That's what we did now, right? We looked at selling as a keyword. We looked at the options. We eliminated A and B, which is a wrong answer option. We looked at C and D. Then we applied a little bit of logic. What will sell like hotcakes, right? Scot-free. Again, what's your clue word? If you look at the options, we have Scot and then we have free. For those of you who don't know, I can quickly relate Scot to Scotland or Scottish or whatever, but still, another meaning for Scot is assessment or tax or whatever. That's another meaning if you didn't know that. So Scot-free. If I look at the options, I have unlimited, I have unpunished, I have to freedom, and I have unrepentant. Right? Some of you, in fact, I have all the options. Some of you have said A, some of you have said B, some of you have said C. But let's look at it. Unrepentant means, I know this prefix un means not. So somebody who is being not repentant, meaning they are not feeling sorry. Not feeling sorry, right? Not feeling any sort of remorse or regret for whatever action they did. Scot-free, unrepentant, unrelated, right? To freedom. Yes, I have free, but is that the word? Unpunished. And then I have unlimited. Unlimited means there is no limitation. Again, not very connected to scot-free. As unlimited, scot-free, I have to choose between B and C. For me, A also seems very disconnected. So out of this, when you say somebody is let go or is let scot-free, scot-free is not a negative word. In fact, when I say something is scot-free, which means this person probably did something wrong, but however, they are still let go without having to go through any punishment. They are probably excused, or their punishment or their wrong act is probably overlooked. So they are let scot-free. So when I say somebody is, this person, was let scot-free means they got away with something without being punished. That's the meaning. So scot-free means to get away with something. So that something is something you did which is wrong, incorrect, without being punished. Answer is B. Yeah. I don't think scot means punishment. That's kind of incorrect. Like I said, there are two meanings to it. I would relate this to a Scottish person, somebody originating from Scotland or whatever. Another meaning is a payment, right? Like a tax or some sort of contribution, right? Like I said, if I look at individual words, I have a completely different meaning. But when I put the phrase together, scot-free means this is what it is, to get away with something without being punished. That's the trick. Or in fact, some of us might be confused because of the fact that when you look at individual words, it's a different meaning, but when you put the phrase together, it's a different meaning. Okay, so be down with. Now when it comes to idioms, just to quickly let you guys know, one is either you know it or you don't know it. Okay, there are some idioms like that. Some idioms we can apply some logic and figure out the answer. Some idioms we can apply some context clues and figure out the answer, right? Pretty much you need to be, because idioms are very, very tricky. Sometimes, you have to take the literal meaning, but for the most part, it will not be the literal meaning, right? It will be an idiomatic meaning. That's why it's called idioms, idiomatic expression, because the single words in the expression mean something, but if I combine these words, it gives me a completely different meaning. So be down with. So if I say I am coming down with a sore throat, which means what? I am suffering from a sore throat. Yeah, I'm coming down with a sore throat. Just to give you an example with the context, be down with. So see, here in this context, if you look at the options, everything is saying to down with means something negative only, and all the options are giving me negative only, suffering from, in grief with, in pain with, aching with. So either you know the answer to this or you don't know the answer to it.